Good morning. My name is Elizabeth Wortluft. I teach Argentine Tango in Portland, Oregon. For the last couple of months, I've been using Pilates sliders in my technique classes to help people connect to the floor better and strengthen their abs and their legs. I assumed other people were doing this, but I haven't seen any videos on the internet, so I decided to do a short video showing you the exercises we've been doing so that you can improve your technique as well. I started using these slider exercises to work on people's adornos, so let's start with those. So, by moving for a lapis, I want to think about having enough energy on the floor so that I really have a nice adorno. I want to think about dragging that slider and feeling how my whole leg is involved in the ornament. Same for a linea. Same for any sort of crossing in front or behind me. I want to keep the whole leg working from my center so I have a really nice adorno. So I don't want to lose the slider while I do that. At the same time, you want to think of your support leg so that when you're doing the slider, you don't tip your hips. So the middle of you is definitely staying put while the slider is doing whatever you're doing with it. I suggest that you do both feet, alternate when you're getting tired of standing so you're not cheating, and make some patterns you wouldn't necessarily make, maybe a figure 8 or around yourself so you can feel your whole body set up for the move. Feel how your standing leg has to adjust in order to have energy in your adorno leg. So round, crossing in front, whatever you need to do there, and feeling the center. Another exercise I use for doing adornos is to think about using the support leg more than the leg that is moving around. So if you stand on the slider, you're just a tiny bit higher off of the floor, and you can feel how your leg moves while you focus on your standing leg. What you will find is your standing ankle and foot are going to adjust quite a lot on the slider. And you can really feel that because it's not quite as big as your foot. So you really feel the arch rolling around. Allow it to have some adjustment. It's not going to be just completely planted in place. That makes your dance feel very tight and not as clear to the leader as if you let the whole foot take part in your move. So really feeling as you move your free leg around what your standing leg is doing in order to stay strongly on that slider and feel that adjustment. I noticed that for a lot of people, the sliders help you stay focused on having your heel into the ground. Not because you're supposed to have your heel into the ground more than the front of your foot, but for many people, instead of having a 50-50 heel and ball of the foot, so that the metatarsal arch gets the center of the weight, many people are too far forward. So what I use these for is getting people to think about where their heels are and feeling that into the floor. For example, if I'm going backwards, I want to get into my standing leg, let the other foot stretch, and I can let go of either one at any time. So I'm not trying to skate around standing on both. But what I'm doing is I'm just using it as a starting point. So I'm going to stand and push off my left foot. I'm going to stand in the middle of that. And I have my toes in the middle of the other one so that when I push off, I can roll through my heel and leave that spot. So going forward, I can roll through the heel and foot and go to the new spot. Can roll and go. Obviously, you don't just slide your free foot across the floor, but this is a really helpful exercise for people who have a bad habit of picking their foot way off the floor, or people who lose grip on the floor and stop using their feet partway through their step. So stand on them, try different ways. There's not one right way. I'm just making these up. I'm sure other people are playing with them, but I find that if you tend to be on your toes, use a slider under your heel like this to feel your push up. To feel your push up. And just help get your brain thinking about the back of your foot. If you tend to roll out, maybe you want to put the slider on the inside of your foot so you can really press into your inner arch and work on that. So you need to know what your weakness is. If you roll in, maybe you want to put your foot on so your outer arch is there. For me, I tend to roll in, so this is not useful for me. Into the side here helps me, especially in the side step. And having my heel down helps me the best for back and for forward. Another way I use the sliders in my class is to help us find our contra body. So when you're keeping your energy all the way down to the floor and you have to counterbalance, anytime your leg passes your midline, you are going to have to counterbalance in a different way because your body doesn't usually walk that way. So we're going to have an upper body twist away from where the slider is going in order to keep the midline nice and tall. So just playing with this, around yourself, around yourself, around yourself. This is a helpful thing to get used to so that when you have something like a boleo, you can feel how your leg twists and your upper body counterbalances for the move. Using these for contra body means I'm really being aware of when I extend my foot and when I can feel that stretch, what my upper body is doing to counterbalance that. So a side step, a front step, a back step. How is my whole body reacting to my 2 feet on the floor? The main thing with the sliders really is just to tune you into using the floor better. For a lot of people, they're falling over because their foot is caught or because not enough energy is being used through the floor. So you should see some subtle differences in your dance after you practice these, and I suggest doing just a couple minutes of them and then putting your shoes on if you've had your shoes off. Dance a little bit, see how it feels. It's more to wake up your middle, wake up your feet, wake up your midline so that you are more aware of and in tune with your dance. Some of the other exercises I use with the sliders are things that look a lot more familiar to a lot of you because they're based on Pilates exercises. A lot of people in my classes have found that their core is not as strong as they thought it was. So the other things I do with the sliders are definitely to improve core awareness, core strength, and to improve the embrace, So things that you can do with the sliders for working on your lats and your upper body so you have a nice open embrace are working on keeping your middle stable while your arms are moving. And then the same kind of thing where your legs are moving. If you keep your middle steady, your wrists right under your armpits, what you want to do is be able to move one arm without moving the rest of your body. Resetting each time, so you're really strengthening the muscles that you're going to be using in the embrace, which are all of these that you're doing when you're working on Pilates. So same position, wrist right under your armpits, back flat, lifting in your abs, and you're going to move a leg and bring it back in without adjusting anything in your middle. Move it out, bring it back in. If you can do that, both out, both in, or mountain climbers, all of those will give your core a good workout, and you might even want to do them before you do tango exercises so that the whole middle of your body is warmed up and ready to be used while you practice with your feet. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.